now.
Hi traders, Shawn Lucas here. So good to be with you today, and always look forward to an opportunity to spend a few minutes with you talking about the market. You know, one of my favorite topics in the entire world. Good to be with you today, and look forward to chatting with you a little bit about history. Sounds boring, right? Sounds like you know, that class that I never wanted to attend in high school. But history actually has a lot of learning, and studying history actually has a lot to offer in terms of success in our own trading routine. I am suffering from a bit of a cold today, so here in Utah, the weather is getting cold. It's snowing and below zero, and so this is what we get around here. We get the January cold, so if you'll bear with me, we'll try and get through this, and hopefully the voice will last. Today's topic was actually one that was recommended from some of our YouTube subscribers. And so I was excited to get the question, because I think there's a lot of validity in exploring the topic of how history helps us in our current trading. And I have a couple of ideas that I'd like to share with you today, and hopefully it'll be something that you'll be able to, you know, incorporate into your own routines back home. Before we get too far down the path, though, a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel. For some reason, YouTube, they like to see the likes. I don't know why. They just like it. So like us, and that way we get more exposure. We get more. YouTube puts us out there a little bit more. And we are always looking to grow our community. So like us and subscribe to us. When you subscribe to us, to our YouTube, they'll send you updates when we're doing these live presentations, and hopefully, you know, it'll keep you up to date with everything. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and all will be well. And then also check out this. This is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we've got the city that we are in, the Linden, Utah, recognized Apiary Fund as one of the outstanding businesses in its community. So we're excited about that. That was a nice gift to have gotten over the holidays at the end of the year last year. So. The city recognized that Apiary Fund's, you know, starting to get a little bit of notoriety out in the world, and they were happy. They're happy that Apiary Fund is here. So we're happy to be here too. Let's talk a little bit about history in our trading. I know that there's a saying that I absolutely despise. I just hate hearing it because it happens. I hear it so often, and it just, you know, it's one of those things that just gets a little bit irritating. But they say that the markets don't repeat, but they rhyme. Have you ever heard that saying? It's not about repeat. It's not that they are exactly the same, but they rhyme, meaning that what has happened in the past is often a model for what will happen in the future, but it's not exactly the same. It just rhymes. It just looks like the same, and it acts like the same as it has performed in the past. And so with that, there's actually a little bit of validity to the idea, though. Even though the saying may annoy you, there's actually some validity to the concept. And what I want to talk a little bit about today is how important it is to look back into history, to go back and review some of our trading sessions if you have an opportunity to, and to seriously take a look at how the market has performed in the past, and to learn how to recognize that rhyme in the future. So in order to kind of explain that, I want to talk a little bit about a common a strategy that we use at Apiary Fund. It's called the banker's close trade, and it's just a setup that happens occasionally in the market. It's not something that happens every day. And for those of you who are at Apiary Fund, you can go into the library and download the strategy and review it and learn a little bit about how the details of that strategy or that trade setup works. But it doesn't matter if it's that strategy or that technique or something else. The idea is that the technique, the setup doesn't work all the time. And I think many of you will recognize that is the case. You have your own little techniques, your own strategies, your own setups, and they don't work all the time. They ought to, right? If it's a good strategy, it ought to work over and over and over again. But inevitably, there are times when it works and there are times when it doesn't work. And for those of you who have spent any time in the trading rooms at Apiary Fund, you'll often hear me talk about character. The character of the market has changed, or something has changed about this market. And some of the things that I was looking for in price development are now not working. And how do you recognize those changes in character? Because if you can recognize the change in character of the market, then you'll know, then you can add another dimension to your setups. You can say, this setup works well with this characteristic in the market, or this setup works well with that characteristic of the market. And so now you have a little bit of added clarity to your setups and your strategies about what market conditions work well for that setup or that strategy. And the only way of knowing what the character of the market is to start to review your trading sessions. Now I know that sounds difficult. I know that it's, the last thing we want to do after a rough trading session is to go back into history and just go rework everything in our minds. Or, maybe you're one of the rare individuals who actually records your trading sessions, and to go back and watch it would be boring. So none of us really want to do that. None of us really want to go back and review everything. We're done when we're done, and we don't want to spend that extra effort. But there are times when it's especially important that you do go back and you do review some of those sessions. For example, Todd and I will sometimes trade the FOMC during these YouTube live presentations, right? If usually those FOMC announcements just happen to land on Wednesday, right about the same time we do these YouTube lives. And so, one of the fun things that Todd and I do is we'll sit down and trade one of those FOMC announcements. Well, what you could do is you could go back and rewatch some of those old YouTube presentations, one of those old YouTube lives, and see how the market reacts. Now, again, what you'll discover through that process is that the pattern will be different every time. But you will start to see some characteristics on how announcements work. Like one of the things that you'll notice in those FOMC announcements is that the initial shock to the market often gives us a real high volatility, a whipsaw. It goes up, it comes down. You'll see that over and over and over if you go back and review that trading session during the FOMC announcements. And then you'll start to recognize, well, maybe that initial time period may be a good time to get into the market for you. That particular characteristic of the market may resonate with your personality. It may not resonate with your personality. But by going back and reviewing it and seeing it over and over and over, you'll learn how to react and how to respond to that particular characteristic in the market. A good friend of mine, Jeff Crystal, he has gained an enormous amount of insight in the market by using a concept that he calls time slicing. And what Jeff does with this time slicing technique is he'll look at, for example, Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. in the morning. So he's got this little window of time that he looks at. And then he'll go back into history the previous Tuesday morning from 8 a.m. to 10, and the Tuesday morning before that from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. And he'll start to recognize and learn to recognize different patterns that happen during that particular time. So what he's doing is he's analyzing, he's doing technical analysis that you and I might do over a running period of time, so the last 24 hours, last 24 bars, only he'll apply his analysis to that particular slice of time. And he'll go back into history and look at what are the commonalities of what happens, what is the characteristic of the market that happens during that particular time. And he has done this over and over and over again with different news events, with different time periods in the market, not just a Tuesday morning, but he'll look at it over, seasonality, this time of year versus this time of year last year. So he'll go back into history and look at through an enormous amount of data and try and capture little tidbits of information that will help him in his trading. And it's a very good technique to learn about character of the market. Now, another thing, you may not need to go back. I mean, it might be a good suggestion that you record some of your trading sessions, just for your own personal insight. You might discover, little idiosyncrasies that you have while you're trading that you didn't even realize that you have. I know that I have those little idiosyncrasies. I know that there are things that I do randomly almost without thinking in the market. And the only way you might discover those little idiosyncrasies is by going back and watching your own trading sessions in the past. Another idea, for those of you who are at the Apiary Fund, we have a calendar, and every Thursday morning we trade together. Those are great opportunities to go back and review historically what has happened in the past on those Thursday morning trading rooms. Another idea is Trader on the Street. If you go to the traderonthestreet.com, we'll have trading sessions there that we'll record in their entirety, unfiltered, uncut, unedited. You can go into the Trader on the Street and watch these historical trading sessions and learn from those sessions. So, at any rate, I guess the big takeaway from our trading, from our discussion this morning, is how important history is in learning how to recognize characteristics of the market. And again, the market is constantly shifting. So you may have a character, in the market. The market may be exhibiting one characteristic right this minute, and it may continue to exhibit that characteristic for 5, 6, 10, 15 minutes into the future. And then somehow, randomly, on a dime, something changes in that character in the market. And the strategies, the techniques, everything that you were using 15 minutes ago may not apply, may not be as effective as they are right now. And really, the only way that you're going to learn how to make those quick adapting maneuvers in the market is to go back into history and see them, to learn to use our eyes, right? To use our eyes to see the market, how it moves, how it operates, and then learn to recognize when those characteristics are changing and when things are a little different than they are right now, or how they are different in the future. So, at any rate, I think that's a good suggestion as you're looking down as you're looking at your own trading at your own trading routines. You may want to incorporate a little bit of historical analysis, a reviewing of things in the past, just to help give you an idea, and to refresh your mind as to how the character of the market changes. And it'll be really easy to see, especially if you're trading, if I just get done with a trading session right now, and then I go back and I review a trading session from 2 months ago, you will surely be able to recognize the differences, the nuances of the different character of that market. And that is a very important skill for traders to have, is to be able to recognize the character of the market, when to apply different techniques, when different setups work effectively, and when they don't. So there you have it. Let's see if we've got any questions. I'm going to kind of just scroll through the chat box here, see if there's any questions. Not really seeing any questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and type those in. I'm not really seeing anything. Oh. A lot of congratulations on the award. Yeah, we were happy to. We were really. It was nice. We got a phone call from the mayor. He's like, "Hey, congratulations! We just want to present you with this award at an upcoming city council," and anyway, we were happy to get that. Here's Hank, FOMC minutes. Participants expressed views that could afford to be patient about further policy firming. So yeah, that's a comment more than a question there. John Smith asked a question. Speaking of strategies, how does the tap room work? I thought it was a monthly fee, but I see that the Wobble Tech is an extra charge. So the tap room is part of the Trader on the Street project that we've been working on. And the tap room is more of an educational. It's a place where you can go to get training. The idea is that we will be creating different classes inside the tap room. Some of those classes are free. Some of those classes are included in the taproom membership. Some of them are we charge a little extra, just because of the nature of how much goes into the production of those presentations. And so I think you'll discover that, number one, the cost to join the taproom is only $10 a month, so it's really very affordable, and the amount of information that you get inside the tap room is just unreal. We will be adding, in fact, this month, we will be adding new trading rooms to the Trader on the Street project, where we will keep the same elements of the Trader on the Street videos, where we have the challenge to make more in 1 hour than most people make in an entire day of trading. We will be having traders sit down at the computer and pushing the buttons, making the trades while I walk them through the process. Any profits that they make inside these trading rooms, they'll get a check for any profit that's made in those trading rooms. We'll still be doing the on location Trader on the Street events on location, and we're really excited about those because we're going to be inviting everyone in the community out to join us live and on location for those events. And we'll be starting those back up in February. But we're also adding these new online trading rooms where we'll trade together online, and all of us can log in and watch that trading session happen. So, any rate, lots of new things that'll be happening with that traderonthestreet.com. So go over there, check it out, subscribe for any news for any news updates. Become a member of the tap room so that you can join us in all of these different classes and so forth. So, all right, traders, great to be with you today. I think we'll wrap it up. The tap room is located at the traderonthestreet.com website. So it's you join the tap room, basically. It's our community. The tap room will be our community. You know, after a long day's work, you know, you come down to the tap room, you enjoy a pint with everybody, and we trade together and we learn a little bit in the process. So that's the idea of the tap room, is to build that community event, that trading community. So there you have it, folks. Julian asked a quick question. What's your favorite trading strategy? What have you had the most success with? That's a great question, Julian. What's my favorite strategy, and what have I had the most success with in my trading? And I think, you know, that plays into a recap of what we're actually talked about today. Because if I look back in my history of the different strategies that I've used, there have been times when I've been super successful with one technique or one strategy. And if I move forward in time, I notice that strategy will evolve. And the way that you see me trading right now will be very different to the way that I will be trading 2 years from now. And I think if you look back in the continuum of the trading history, that's a pretty common process. You know, we learn as we go through the experiences of trading. And again, that just helps illustrate how important it is for us to look back into our old history and learn how the market works, you know. Learn how our knowledge of the market evolves over time, because the way that I look at things today is very different than the way that I looked at things, 5 years ago. They say that traders have to be a lifelong student of the market, and there's some truth to that. We're constantly learning something new. There are basic principles, there are techniques, there are strategies that work consistently throughout time, but we're constantly learning how to apply those differently in the market. And again, it's so important that we go back into history, review how things were, so that we have a better feel, a more rich view of how the market is working today. And there you have it. Thank you, traders. Wish you the best of success. Again, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like this session, go ahead and click the like button. We appreciate that, as always. And we'll see you next. Those of you at Apiary Fund, we'll see you tomorrow morning in the trading room. And for those of you who in our YouTube community, we'll see you next Wednesday, same time. Thank you, everybody, and wish you the best of success in your trading. See you then.
Looking for more? My Trading Signals is a way to give you signals and teach you how those signals were conceived. By clicking on the link below, you will have access to Steve Perry's classes, tips, weekly review sessions, and all signals being sent out. Start your free 30-day trial today.